I was asked to send a brief Shabbat primer to, as an addendum, as just an extension of the learning we did yesterday. So 7 very quick Shabbat points. First, dress for Shabbat. Dress this week, the first of these very unusual Shabbatot for us, as if you were going to synagogue, as if you were having everyone at home with you. How we dress has a huge impact on us, on how we feel about ourselves, on our understanding of where we are. It grounds us. In fact, even during the week, if a person typically dresses a certain way to go to synagogue and then go to the office, even if he's home doing an hour or so of work at home, he should dress as if he was going to the synagogue and going to office. Dressed the way he typically does will ground him in terms of who he is. Number 2, eat at the Shabbat table. We're used to being at the Shabbat table. Thank God, with many family members, we won't be enjoying that as much this week. But it's important to eat at the Shabbat table with Shabbat plates and Shabbat platters, festive in the atmosphere of Shabbat, as if we were enjoying it to the full extent that we typically do. So even if we're smaller, stay on the bigger table, go with it in full as we typically would. Next, in terms of sharing Divrei Torah, as we always do, it's always a good idea to share Divrei Torah at the table. Do so again, even if it's 2 people or 4, let each person share a new idea on Torah, Chesed, something that he or she did recently or impressed them. And of course, it's always nice to share a happy or funny story. We have a lot of extra time in terms of the time we would have spent in the Beit Knesset, in the synagogue. So in lieu of that, pray slower. For those who would benefit by understanding more by using an English-Hebrew Siddur, take one. Focus on certain terms that may not be completely clear. Learn those terms, understand them better, and take the time, that extra prayer time that's allowed to us over the next day or so, and use it to immerse more deeply in the prayers and to make the prayers a different experience. Next, we have a halacha that a person is supposed to read the parasha twice each week with one of the main commentaries, particularly Unkelus. Some of our poskim say that should a person read the parasha twice with any of the those who give the explanations, the Mefarshim, it's as if he stood in the Beit Knesset in front of the actual Sefer Torah, hearing it from the Chazan. So each week it's important that we read the parasha twice with an explanation. This week it's even more important. Make every effort to do so. In terms of the learning that we do on Shabbat, let's take it to another level this week, to whatever extent we can. Let's learn with our wives. Let's learn with our children, exclusive of the Dvar Torah that we'll be sharing at the table. Finally, the last point on Shabbat is that there's a certain oneg, there's a certain pleasure, there's a certain beyond the time uniqueness and spirituality that's built into Shabbat. If we engage the Shabbat, if we have the meals, if we learn, if we sing, if we share Divrei Torah, if we're dressed for a full Shabbat, we'll be able to take from that oneg that only Shabbat offers us and to grow from the day and to feel enriched by the day. Wishing you all a beautiful Shabbat.